So as I said in the description, I started a little late into this. I'm chilling with the girlfriend earlier. Didn't want to broadcast until after. It's always not that anyone watches these, but, you know. Here we are. Here we are. So I've already gotten through the Citadel, explored the palace, caught wind of a side quest, talked to some cute characters, and by cute I mean my personal favorite was when I ran into a menacing guard. After talking to like Savage and Ruthless, then I reach Merciful. Merciful? Yeah, I kill my enemies quickly. Oh, okay, I guess that counts. We got to meet a Nora bounty hunter who was talking about how he said something about, he sounds like he still reveres All-Mother, but also accepts his punishment for murder of being outcast forever. Anyway, and then he asked what I was banned for. Oh, birth. It's amazing. Anyway, so followed some things, went down, now we're inside. We learned some stuff about, by the way, I mentioned there's huge spoilers in this mission, right? We found out some things about the world. Everyone thinks Project Zero Dawn is an effort to create super weapons to crack the things, but to be fair, we've kind of known that wouldn't be the case, because pretty much right from the start in the Pharaoh Corporation anyway, we saw Elizabeth Sobek saying that there was no way in hell this could be cracked because Mr. Pharaoh did not put in back doors at all. Period. No shutdown code, no nothing. Unbreakable. But, so that leaves us here, and now we're trying to find out what this is. My personal suspicion is that it is like a cloning facility, considering, you know, my uncanny resemblance to the Elizabeth Sobek. But I don't know yet. So far, all we've learned is that people come here expecting to learn about the super weapons that we're developing, and then find out that, no, we're all gonna die soon. And so we're currently working on something. This is the processing area for people who just learned the awful truth. And this data point over here told people that, or told counselors that they would be very upset when they learned this. You can pause if you want to read through. Alright, so there you go. One more time in case it was awkward. There you go. So, yeah, that's what's up.
With Suzanne Alpert, environmental scientist. Doctor?
I'm sorry, I wasn't,
Just stating your name. What were you thinking about, Doctor?
Nothing the General said, not really. I was on the Syzygy East Response Team in 2051, just after the second earthquake compromised the reactor. I still dream about it, after all these years. The red zone spreading on the imaging, slowly, so slowly, like a hand opening its fingers.
Your involvement in that event is why you were asked for by name.
Really? That's interesting. Because nothing worked. Nothing could grow there again. It was a catastrophic failure. But the red zone is a blip compared to global-scale biomass reduction. The biosphere and hydrosphere will collapse, render the Earth uninhabitable long before the robots finish us. Enduring victory can't buy time against that. So, you'd better show me what Zero Dawn really is.
I agree. Let's find out together.
Look, let's cut the mystery. You're building a colony ship. It's obvious. and it's not gonna fly. I mean, literally. Remember the Odyssey? That multinational heap of space junk that's been in graveyard orbit since '57? That went nowhere real slow, and you have to get somewhere real fast. Do you have any idea the immensity of the challenge to prep a new colony ship in time?
To be clear, I'm not a worker on the project.
Do you even understand how few people it could save? The whole generation ship concept is not gonna happen. It's the first thing you'd abandon in favor of embryonics. For that kind of storage, we're talking a lot of bulk, a lot of power, a lot of resources. So even if you do it, even if you build it and point it at Sirius X, there's no room for people on that thing, all right?
If you could try to remain calm.
You people are crazy if you think you're getting off this rock. No one's getting off.
Medical.
So there's an idea. Are we cloning ourselves and sending ourselves to another planet? And if so, why are we still here? Ooh, what if it worked and we're on that new planet? But that doesn't make any sense. Why would there be all of this shit? Okay, I think I found a secret. Oh boy. Oh. Well, that wasn't so much a tunnel for any purpose other than to screen me, or to let me sneak around. Well, good thing I didn't televise my approach because it wasn't graceful. Hello, Watson. My doggy friend comes in to say hi.
There is some mistake. I don't understand why I was brought here. Why would you show me these things? I know that there's already a lot to take in. In the waiting area, I was seated with a Nobel laureate in biophysics and a monk, I think. He spoke neither English nor Mandarin. It is very strange. And General Harris? What was he talking about? The robot swarm, the Pharaoh plague? I understand it is terrible. But it really cannot be stopped? Why tell us this? There are people in Shanghai, my friends, my family. They have joined Operation Enduring Victory already. It is for nothing? We will all die? We're going to be able to answer some of these questions. I just want to know why I am here. It doesn't make sense to me. You were brought here because of your skill set. No, that can't be right. I am an art historian. I know Dutch masters, Japanese calligraphy, Gerhard Richter. What does that matter now?
We're building a compendium of human information and possibly cloning, so that way when the time comes for us to all die, maybe we can at least share our knowledge with the next civilization, which is of course us, the here and now, Aloy and the Nora and the Shadow Cardigans. Just kidding, the Shadow Carja.
is accurate, yes.
So these mechanical monstrosities, they don't just kill people, they feed off them?
Not just people, all organic matter.
Every living thing dissolved into nutrients. Millennia of evolution liquefied. The miracle of life reduced to bloody biofuel.
In a word, yes.
Who did this? Pharaoh? That arsehole. Is he here?
No, Doctor. Please.
Tell him Tom Pate wants a word. Now, get off! Get off!
Doctor, please.
You get Ted Pharaoh in here!
Oh.
No room.
Might as well. Data security.
Want to discuss?
Whew. So, Mama, she was right.
Pardon?
My mother, she took her Bible real serious. Not just Texas Bible serious, Pentecostal serious. Favorite chapter? Revelations. Now, I didn't always understand her on account of all that speaking in tongues and such, but when she did use her words, it was always end times this and lake of fire that on account of sinful lifestyles. Speaking of which, mind if I smoke?
A tobacco cigarette.
Sorry, darling. My taste run classic. Compliments to your team tracked me down. Been a price on my head 18 months now. Sterling Malky was me, don't mind admitting. Been plenty of snakesters chasing the bounty, too. But I kept the zigging to their zag. How'd you finger me?
I believe Dr. Sobek listed you as an alpha candidate. Priority snatch and grab.
Always suspected she had a little thing for me. Hey, I don't suppose you got real coffee in this place. You know, blood coffee? Conflict cappuccinos?
Mr. Tate, I'm clearing you to proceed. Just go.
Wow.
You previously worked for Pharaoh Automation.
Can we just talk about how flattered that guy was? I'm just so stoked to be here. He's like, well, you know. Anyway, previously. Oh, shit, I broke it. Ugh. BRB. taking a quick little recap. While I try to find the one that I missed. In fact, they're printing barracks. 3D printing. There's the start of those lies. Losing hope. Can I go back? Oh, goodness. There's an edited and improved version.
Thanks for the mails, you. Time goes fast on active duty. 4 months with the wrecking recalls, I don't know, 20 drops. In and out of the West Coast, fighting with these civilian enlistees, scrappy guys and gals. Their training is basically, here's a DEW, when you see a bot, hit it. But somehow it's all coming together. Between us and the 6th MRB, we took down a horse at Lithium Beach. Pulled out before its buddies arrived, but to see a big one go down. I hope you made the news, honey. Showed everyone we're gonna have a shot at turning this around. We just need to give Project Zero Dawn the time it needs, then everything will be the way it used to be.
Followed by...
Thanks for the mails, you. Time goes fast on active duty. 4 months with the wrecking recalls, fighting with these civilian enlistees, scrappy guys and gals. That's all coming together. Between us and the 6th MRB, we took down a horse. I hope it made the news, honey. Showed everyone we're turning this around. We just need to give Project Zero Dawn the time it needs. I know it's been days, honey. I'm so sorry. Deployments are getting real long and tougher every time.
Anyway.
I know it's been days, honey. I'm so sorry. Deployments are getting real long. I know it's been days, honey. I'm so sorry. Deployments are getting real long. We have to put into work for everyone. Like a family business. I still see you in the eyes of the people out there. They were glad to see us. They still had hope. I'm still fighting for you.
Wow, that's so fucking edited. Like a family business, I see you in the eyes of the people out there. They were glad to see us. They still had hope. I'm so choppy.
Ames, I know I mail you too much. I'm just proud of what you're doing. Everyone back home is. We got moved inland 10 kilometers, just as a precaution, they say. School's still in session, so I get to keep my eye on Andres and Reggie. We never know where or when you're fighting, but when the VTOLs go over, all the kids run out and wave. I believe in you. I know nothing's ever gonna be the same.
But I believe in you. I believe in us.
Ames, I don't even know if you're alive anymore. The mails I get from you, they say they're from you, but they don't sound... They sound recycled. Phrases put together, and you don't say anything about the news I pass on. The containment zone, the rebreathers, the rioting, One Earth. What happened in the Dallas bubble, Ames, that wasn't the robots. They won't even give me a straight answer when I demand to know if you're still alive. They just say if your messages keep coming, then you're still operational. It's not fair, Ames. It's not fair that you won't be with me when the lights go out. I love you.
That's so sad.
Jesus Christ.
Status report. 9th Mechanized Response Brigade, Commanding Officer Lieutenant Fiona Morrell. Unit morale continues to be adversely impacted by outbound engagements against the Pharaoh Plague, especially when said engagements occur in sectors where civilian guard enlistees have been heavily engaged. The scope and nature of fatalities suffered by civilian guard and unarmed civilians in these sectors defy description. And witnessing it is generating a pervasive sense of hopelessness in the unit. Accordingly, I once again request that deployments of the 9th MRB be temporarily refocused on facilities that are mission critical to Project Zero Dawn. And once again, I request an immediate update on the status of Project Zero Dawn's timeline.
Well, we're gonna find out if they even had a timeline.
Hey, y'all wanted to know how I remember the geotherm system reboot? Goes like this. Bird flies north in summer, east in spring, west in fall, and south in winter. Didn't expect to hear nature poetry from the lips of Mike the GT Tech now, did you? As usual, I defy expectations.
So, of course, that was just a passcode, but amusing.
Dr. Sobek, as projected, the Wichita salient has collapsed. 5 Horus-class Titans have broken through. We predict contact in 34 hours.
Everything is in position, General. It took a few shortcuts to pull everything together, but Zero Dawn is functionally complete. Good to go.
That enduring victory served its purpose after all.
Yes, if we'd had even one day less.
I've sent you an encoded file, Doctor. Please do me the favor of archiving it.
I'll see what I can do. What is it?
A brief statement. An allocution of crimes, I guess you'd call it.
To what are you admitting guilt?
Over the past 16 months, Doctor, I have presided over the greatest wholesale slaughter of military personnel and civilians in the history of history. Genghis Khan, Hitler, Stalin, Sorabella, add them all together. They don't even come close.
You didn't do the killing, General.
No, not directly. But I didn't wind up the highest-ranked military commander in the United States by resisting the automation of the armed forces. Even before the swarm, Doctor, I was helping death along. So, instead of letting what I've done sink into the murk, forgotten, I've sent a file with all the details. Let posterity judge my actions with clear vision.
I'll do as you ask, General. But you should consider that were it not for your actions, our actions, there wouldn't be any posterity to judge us.
Perhaps. Dr. Sobek.
At ease, General. And goodbye.
Hell of a thing.
Those are the Helix ones. I just went through and found all these earlier. Alright, these are ones I've already found. There we go.
You
This is the one.
previously worked for Faro Automated Systems.
On the Chariot Line self-replication routines? I came here thinking this was a rendition. When your people took me, I thought, about time. I've been trying to swallow the guilt every day since,
Would you like to take a moment?
No. I really hoped Zero Dawn was a way to undo it all. My work. And I'm sorry to say I was ever proud of it, but Ted could really sell a concept, and in the labs, in the light of creation, that first test run, when you saw they understood their own structures, could rebuild themselves from memory and light, there were no limits. God, there were no limits.
Hell of a thing. I think this one I read without anyone. I believe this is where. Yeah. Alright. Let's got it. That's it. That's really it. Okay.
CD02 data intact. Initiating playback.
Elizabeth Sobek. You've heard the bad news, and it's all true. The Pharaoh Plague is devouring the biosphere. Life itself will cease to exist. But does that have to be the end? What if we could give life a future? What if we could build a kind of seed from which, on a dead planet, life could blossom anew? This is the aim, the hope, of Project Zero Dawn. To create a super-intelligent, fully automated terraforming system and bring life back from lifelessness. What would such a system require? At its core, it would need a true AI, fully capable of making the trillions of decisions necessary to reconstitute the biosphere. An immortal guardian, devoted to the reflourishing of life. We call it Gaia. Mother Nature as an AI. But that's just the core of the system. She will need to be surrounded and empowered by a comprehensive suite of subordinate functions. Think of them as extensions of Gaia's mind, each dedicated to a specific purpose. Now, these aren't AIs, but make no mistake, each presents an engineering challenge more profound than anything the human species has ever before attempted. Hardware that preserves and then gestates the billions of seeds and embryos from which life will be reborn. The construction of underground facilities to hold it all. And that's just the start. We don't have to build the entire system. The beauty of a fully automated terraforming system is that it can build itself. Now, over the days to come, you'll learn how all these functions, all these pieces that you'll be working on, fit together. How we'll race the clock to execute our harvest initiatives, write the software, build the tech and the facilities. How we'll lock it down and seal it up before the inevitable occurs. But even more important, you'll know how it doesn't end here. How Gaia will generate those deactivation codes General Harris talked about, and build the transmission arrays to broadcast them, shutting down the Pharaoh robots for good. How Gaia will not just build, but imagine any conceivable robot it needs to do its work across centuries. From detoxifying the Earth's ravaged atmosphere and poisoned seas, to the regreening of the Earth from cryopreserved seed stalks, to rewilding the Earth with animal life. And then, when all that is done, how a new generation of human beings, spawned at cradle facilities around the globe, will partake of Apollo, the vast archive of human knowledge and cultural achievement from which they will learn of us, our world. And most important, how not to repeat our mistakes. It's not an impossible dream. It is within our grasp if we work tirelessly and stop at nothing to achieve it. We can't stop life from ending. But if you will help me, help Gaia, we can give it a future. Join me and help make that future real.
Hell yeah. Quite an ambitious project.
The whole Earth destroyed, but then remade?
Yes. By a machine. A machine of creation.
Elizabeth did this. For life, for us. But why Hades then? If it was part of Gaia, how did it end up in the wreckage of a Pharaoh robot? And why does it want to kill me? And Apollo, the archive of knowledge, what happened to that?
I'm as confused as you are. Maybe the answers lie ahead.
Hades. Maybe that was a corrupted version. Maybe that was like a security against Pharaohbots that was then rewired as a Pharaohbot.
This might even the odds.
You are now in possession of information regarding the true nature and purpose of Project Zero Dawn, classified far above top secret. As such, we regret that you cannot be allowed to leave this facility. There are 3 options available to you at this point. Please consider each carefully. Trained counselors are standing by to assist you in making your choice. 1. Participation. You will be assigned to a sub-project team based on your area of expertise. You should be aware that the way forward will be difficult and the project's outcome is uncertain. You will be expected to work a minimum of 80 hours per week minimum, and your communications with family members will be strictly limited and monitored in real time. Upon successful completion of the project, you and your immediate family, or 2 persons of your choosing, will be transferred to the Elysium sealed habitat to live out the remainder of your natural lives. Indefinite detention. Should you choose to decline participation in Project Zero Dawn, you will be confined indefinitely. You will be given 48 hours to reconsider, after which your decision to refuse participation will be considered irrevocable. Every reasonable effort will be made to make the term of confinement as comfortable as possible, but you will not be permitted contact with the outside world, and death within 18 months due to the Pharaoh Plague is inevitable. When the Zero Dawn facility is abandoned, detainees who wish not to opt for medical euthanasia will be released. Huh. Medical euthanasia. The information you have just received understandably calls into question the purpose of continuing to live. If you would prefer to end your life at this point, pain-free medical euthanasia is available. A 48-hour waiting period is required, during which time you may instead opt for participation or confinement. Please notify a counselor when you're ready to make your choice or if you have further questions. I feel like they wouldn't do medical euthanasia, though. Like, they would offer it, but would they, though? This is the one that says, don't actually give them euthanasia. Let's finally inform the candidates choose to participate in Project Zero Dawn voluntarily and knowingly, without additional coercion and without value judgment on the part of the counselor. Confirm for candidates that they were selected due to their skill sets and accomplishments. Emphasize that their dictated participation in Zero Dawn will increase the project's chance of success. Frame participation in Zero Dawn as an opportunity to respond actively in the face of an overwhelming threat. Candidates may question the fairness of their selection, validate such objections as normal, even admirable responses. Emphasize the value of candidates' expertise to the future, not just of humanity, but terrestrial life as a whole. Likewise, candidates may balk at the morality of extending their lifespans and those of loved ones beyond 0 day. Validate their hesitation. Acknowledge that while the reward of Elysium is not fair, it will be earned. If possible, redirect their ethical misgivings toward greater commitment to the project. When candidates challenge the plausibility of Project Zero Dawn, permit them to review Dr. Selleck's presentation as many times as they wish and allow them access to supplemental articles GD1 through P20, or G1 to P20. Allow them to suspend the interview to fully process this documentation. I want to see those articles, please. A significant minority of candidates will elect for medical euthanasia. It is important to receive this decision kindly and without judgment. Advise some of the 48-hour waiting period during which counselors will be available to discuss their decision. emphasized that euthanasia will not occur without repeated consent when the procedure is scheduled to take place. No one will be euthanized against her or his will. Candidates who elect indefinite detention must be informed that they have 48 hours to reverse the decision, after which the decision becomes permanent. Fucking...
I'll take this.
How can I not walk past a fire striker?
Alert. Confinement block inaccessible.
Of course I'll do it. To be given the opportunity to rebuild what the damage that I don't feel worthy of it, but I will do it, absolutely.
I want to stress that this was never about your culpability.
It is to me. Dr. Sobek, Margot, they were smart to get out of Pharaoh when they did, but not one of us took it as a warning sign. It just told ourselves they weren't cut out for the BTRI cabals. That's better than rapid innovation. Better at competing, better than the next guy, a better killing machine. It's just amazing how a century and a half of science fiction did nothing to swerve our species from the path of doom. I'm done with that life. I mean, I will work hard, twice as hard to earn this, for my family to have a place in Elysium. I never thought that there could be atonement.
Breaking the fourth wall, anyone? That was impressive.
If you're still nauseous.
No, the inhibitors have kicked in. I can't feel the back of my tongue. I wish I could tell you I'd believe in this, but the damage is too great, too extensive, too complete. With all respect to Dr. Sobek's work at Miriam, no. No, life doesn't always find a way to keep going. Sometimes it never comes back. Like Syzygy East. Like the Congo. Like Timor. Like us. That's our reward? A buried city full of terminal patients waiting out the clock?
You grow old together, with your loved ones, in safety.
I don't have loved ones. I suppose I could start a family?
I'm afraid not. All inhabitants of Elysium will be medically sterilized. A habitat capable of sustaining a starting base of 2,000 individuals for up to 100 years is a huge challenge, Dr. Alpert. If the population grows instead of diminishes, everyone will be dead inside 30 years.
I knew it. I just couldn't bring myself to say the words.
I'm sorry?
Finish it. Medical euthanasia. I want no part of this. I just want it over.
I see.
Now see...
Protocols require a 48-hour waiting period, after which...
Now see, what you could do is you could convince her and say, well, alright, you could always be a part of it, and then once your job is done, take the medical euthanasia. No one's going to stop you from doing that. You know, if you're scoffing at the reward of having a fucking biosphere to live your life in, sure, fine. We'll do medical euthanasia. But, you know, if you're willing to put in the work beforehand, why not, right? And I suppose there's, you know, safety implications that if they plan on just dying anyway, then maybe they'll do the work differently. But then also, to be fair, to live your life in a biosphere waiting to die, but, you know, at least living in peace, that's the same thing. You just get some more time out of it. You get some more playthroughs. That's all. So anyway, I think they're bad at negotiating.
Is he to make sure I behave this time?
Security. For your protection.
So yes.
Would you like to discuss how you're feeling?
Sure. I'll tell you. Surprised. No, flabbergasted. Like my own man would say, flabbergasted. That vein pumping in his forehead. I thought you people were just completely underprepared for a spaceflight project. But now I can see it's worse. Much worse. Sobek is a total fantasist, a dangerous fantasist. This kind of blue skying. Jesus. I'm sorry we wasted each other's time. I'm ready to leave now.
I'm afraid that's not possible.
Everything you're talking about here isn't possible.
I recommend you read the documents regarding your options.
I've seen enough. I'm getting out of here. What did you... You don't... Get your hands off me!
It was a big room. Oh, there's figure number 2. I don't want to give them up, like, ever. It's just a shame they don't look like anything. When I find the last piece, I'm probably gonna have to wait till the very end of the world, the very end of the game, and then cash in on a separate save file, just to see what the reward is. This can't be the medical euthanasia chamber, can it? I never feel like I've gotten everything. It seems like I've gotten everything. I'm still standing. Yeah.
Try me now.
Intruder! Get her!
Whatever you do, don't die.
I think this piece of ammo is best ever. So good job, guys.
hashed it out with them, what the point of Artemis was. I made it clear I wasn't on board for a global zoo. We haven't exactly proved ourselves to be great custodians in the past few thousand years. So the idea of a reconstituted biosphere, well, it's horrifying, isn't it? A complete horror show. We have no right to take a best guess at this stuff. But the alternative? Nothingness. For there to have been all this and then nothing. And with Charles Ronson running the show, I respect him. He's got a passion to him. He's hot-blooded. So I said I'll do it. I'll put my all into this, literally. When the project is done, I'll take the medical option, thank you.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Counselor said I might change my mind. I told him that he didn't know me very well then. For life's sake, I'll do the dirty work. But I want no part of this pathetic, attenuated future on offer. I'm an outdoors man. Never did like the feel of solid-state lighting on my skin. And a wee bit of a claustrophobe, anyway.
I like you, Tom.
Power's down.
Is there another route?
I've done this before. Just need my focus.
Ugh, it's just so loud. Wow, so much stuff.
Now, those lame FBI black hats at Mockingbird back in the day, I enjoyed schooling them. But maybe I went in too hard on this poor counselor. She was cute, and just going down a checklist after all. Couldn't expect her to see how ridiculous Zero D's ambitions are. God's own budget thrown at a kid playing with a hologram sculptor? Palms up on it. I'm just calling it like it is. Hey, look, Mom, I'm making nature. Now, if nature is so important, why not let nature take its course? Extinction? That's natural. Zero Dawn? No, ma'am, that ain't. Heck, it's so unnatural it'd be called an abomination back home, and you know it. That's why you're hiding it. Meanwhile, my little honey of a counselor, she's munching the inside of her cheek. Bad habit. She chewed one of her nails, too, just one. Not your day, was it, little sweet pea? Saw her quota slipping away. Said, I assume you intend to decline the assignment, Mr. Tate. You kidding me? 18 months hard labor in exchange for 30 years lounging around Elysium watching porn? Sign me up.
What a weirdo.
Zero Dawn. It is art, in a way. An expression on the grandest scale. But there is so much unfairness. Why was I chosen? Was it decided by committee? By algorithm? My family will be saved because I happen to graduate in art history? Is this right?
Dr. Sauvé? Christina Sauvé?
Yes. I met a man, another historian. His fields are Bauhaus and the New Materialists. But he once attended one of my talks. Another unfair chance. Of all the many people in that auditorium, that we should both be here now. And yet, I feel more accepting of my fate. No, it is not fair.
Not at all. But for the sake of my family, for the sake of art. Art is alive. It must be able to speak from beyond history and echo in the future, not perish into oblivion. This opportunity, I must do this.
Of course the artist and the thief will do it. The biologist won't. Oh, finally popped. Thank God, though. It's annoying. I want to see what's back there.
Should give me the upper hand.
I'm probably done with humans for a minute, but...
Here we go. Another one of these. Need to find the right configuration. There's a part missing. Maybe there's a storage area nearby.
Oh, she's actually looking at all this.
Done. I should check the door nearby.
Hey, I'm done with Brett's incompetence, okay? Somehow, he managed to install an H-emitter node backwards. Everything's in reverse. I don't get paid to clean up Brett's messes. If you want it fixed, send him up to storage for a new emitter, not me. Parker out. Hey, I'm done with Brett's incompetence, okay? Somehow, he managed...
Stupid Brett. Also Becky, or whatever your name was.
My turn.
Yeah, I figured.
Found one. Looks intact. That should do the trick. Now let's get that door open.
Jesus, Brett, how can I do it, but you can't? I get the feeling these are upside down. That one should be left. And then up. One should be right. One should be down.
That did it. Door should have power.
Now to see what lies beyond it.
I'm sure there'll be no one of interest up there, but I like being prepared.
Eclipse. They're here.
Avoid contact.
Lines look good.
Gaia. It's up there. Second floor.
Can you reach it?
So much for avoiding contact.
Really? I guess that's fine. Oh, Jesus Christ.
What was that? Target. Try to run.
Checking my battery real fast. Full. Nice. Oops.
game then? Search and destroy.
Super duper a game, bro.
That's the last of them.
H-lock structural failure. Repeat.
Or not.
There! I see something! Shadow take you!
Hello, I'm Margot Shen, and this is Hephaestus. As the name
No, not fair.
this is going to be the supplement function that Gaia will use to make lots and lots of robots. Her personal forge. Except, it's not really simple. So, like, you probably noticed that only about a third of you are robotics engineers. The rest, experts in machine cognition, virtual heuristics, that stuff. Well, that's because we aren't going to be the ones designing and building robots.
Sun can't save you
The
now.
last thing we want is to burden Gaia with a bunch of outmoded 21st century designs. Waste of time.
Shadow
Our
guy.
goal is to empower Gaia to build the robots. And not just build, imagine, from scratch. Any robot she
Room's
needs
clear.
for any conceivable purpose,
moment,
designed
anyway.
and fabricated at a snap of a finger.
You have to
Hers.
find Gaia.
I really, really hope she goes through the lecture again. But at least I heard most of it. Nice. That was solid.
Alert. Structural failure prevents access.
That one. Bummer.
Alert. Area inaccessible. Elevators non-operational. Stairwells have collapsed.
You are stuck, it says. Oh, that hospital really hurt. Oh yeah, now I can go back and collect all of those potions and stuff. Look at all these guns.
Might need this.
Just finding, just dropping some things in places where they could be useful. Not bad. I probably don't even need to go this far. I'm pretty sure they all have potions on them. Big free stuff, right? Oh god, wait. Yeah.
Heavy. Hits hard, too.
Okay. So these are different projects. These are totally different projects. From Margot Shen to Elizabeth Soviet, Silk Simulation Rules. Wow, you weren't kidding about Gaia's predilection for animal morphologies. Sure, not totally unexpected given the rough natural terrain our bots will have to navigate, but I agree that there's something deeper going on here. Her designs aren't just functional. They feel almost like, well, tributes is the word that comes to mind. As though she's already mourning their loss. Not just for the disappearing fauna of our time, but creatures from the fossil record too. References to the megafauna in some of her designs. So cool. Well, whatever Gaia thinks up, the Fae just will empower her to build it. I just wish we could still be around in a century or two to see what she makes. Where I go. BRB, guys. All right.
Hello, I'm Margot Shen, and this is Hephaestus. As the name might tip you off, this is going to be the subordinate function that Gaia will use to make lots and lots of robots. Her personal forge. Except, it's not that simple. You probably noticed that only about a third of you are robotics engineers. The rest, experts in machine cognition, virtual heuristics, that stuff. Well, that's because we aren't going to be the ones designing and building robots. The last thing we want is to burden Gaia with a bunch of outmoded 21st century designs. Waste of time. Our purpose is to empower Gaia to build the robots. And not just build, imagine, from scratch. Any robot she needs for any conceivable purpose, designed and fabricated at a snap of a finger. Hers.
her finger. So, Hephaestus isn't really the forge. It's more like the knowledge of craft and ingenuity of a mastersmith to wield the hammer. Encoded as software. Virtual creativity made real. Gaia's already learning. In simulation, she's doing some very creative things with fractal assembly and animal morphologies. Her designs aren't about to win the Liam Prize anytime soon, but hey, everyone has to start somewhere. So, yes, time to get started. Let's do this.
I don't get it.
Which part? It's a little technical at places.
If Gaia was designed to save life, why would the robots it makes attack people?
Perhaps it loves some forms of life more than others.
The derangement. The machines weren't always so angry.
True. Mostly they were docile until 10, 15 years ago.
For years, Hephaestus has been forcing cauldrons to make aggressive machines. I've seen it myself, in the cauldrons. Stalkers, Ravagers, the Thunderjaw. How could it do that? And why?
Why indeed?
Perhaps related to the eclipse. Maybe I was going to say maybe it's trying to exterminate the current human life and rebuild it fresh, but that doesn't make any sense either. I feel like it's being controlled. I'm not sure. From Elizabeth to Margot Shen. Just a minute. Margot, if I doubted your brilliance in the slightest, I wouldn't have picked you as the Hephaestus Alpha. You need to stop worrying about your age and communication style. You are who you are. Have confidence in yourself. You know what you're doing. Case in point, the latest draft of your plan for the construction and stocking of bootstrap silos to store raw materials is excellent. This, combined with your design for the AM Foundry core and the Foundry site selection plan, add up to a comprehensive plan. It's time to start construction. AM stands for additive manufacturing. One detail, consult with Iomide Kilo before you finalize silo inventories. Hephaestus' first task will be to fabricate the robots that will construct the waveform broadcast towers Minerva will use to transmit the deactivation codes. So any exotic materials needed for the tower should be accounted for in the inventory plan. Tallnex. That's so cool.
I've seen these shapes before. In cauldrons.
But of course, the birthing places of Gaia's machines.
No, I wonder if she would have said that if I hadn't done any cauldrons. If I had managed to go the entire game without a single cauldron and got to this point, what would it have said? I wonder if they just banked on the fact that probably done the cauldron by now. My kitty cat approaches. Meow. Sorry guys, kitty cats are reported. Meow. Get comfy, Loki. So much purring.
I think this is it. Elizabeth Sobek's office. But it's sealed off. There's got to be a way inside.
Yeah,
Keep looking.
my voice.
More eclipse.
Careful now.
Oh, everywhere. Oh, there's all my weapons down there.
Did healers put a bounty on her? I wouldn't mind some extra shards.
Oh man, I use a lot of wire for this. Oh. Nobody else. 4, 5, and a deal. Oh, of course.
Luck's with me.
Kind of cool that I got.
Welcome to Apollo, the collective memory of the human species and the wellspring of knowledge for future generations. I am Samina Elbaji. Until recently, I was director of the International Collective Memory Institute in New Tehran. As a heritage professional, I devoted my career to the preservation of human knowledge, creative endeavor, and cultural achievement. Apollo is, therefore, the ultimate embodiment of a lifelong passion, albeit under the very worst circumstances imaginable. The challenges before us are immense. Specifically, we will have to design and implement 4 major initiatives simultaneously. First, the construction of data repositories in cradle facilities around the world ensuring redundancy. Second, the collection and processing of a projected 180 million discrete data entries. 42 zettabytes of data in Mandarin, English, Spanish, and Arabic. Third, the transferal and encoding of all that data onto DNA encapsulated in synthetic fossils. The only medium capacious and durable enough to safeguard it without degradation for the centuries to come. And last, but not least, the development of the holographic interface and gamified curricula, by which future humans will commune with Apollo, progressively unlocking heuristic learning modules, leveling up their knowledge and skills they will need to take control of the terraforming system. That is the future towards which all of our efforts will be directed. Not just the preservation of the past, but the seed for the flourishing of a new tree of knowledge. Welcome, and let us begin.
Hate me.
Welcome to Apollo, the collective memory of the human species and the wellspring of knowledge for future generations. I am Samina Elbaji. Until recently, I was director of the International Collective Memory Institute in New Tehran. As a heritage professional, I devoted my career to the preservation of human knowledge, creative endeavor, and cultural achievement. Apollo is, therefore, the ultimate embodiment of a lifelong passion, albeit under the very worst circumstances imaginable. The challenges before us are immense. Specifically, we will have to design and implement 4 major initiatives.
Very poetic.
Simultaneously. First, the construction of data repositories in cradle facilities around the world ensuring redundancy. Second, the collection and processing of a projected 180 million discrete data entries. 42 zettabytes of data in Mandarin, English, Spanish, and Arabic.
Third, the transferal and encoding of all that data onto DNA encapsulated in synthetic fossils. The only medium capacious and durable enough to safeguard it without degradation for the centuries to come. And last, but not least,
So I'm proud of
the development of the holographic interface and gamified curricula, by which future humans will commune with Apollo.
Over the past 2 months, the full benefit of our procurement of a copy of the Homer archive from Far Zenith has made itself known, and as a result, all of Apollo's key deliverables are on schedule. Apollo has already surpassed 40 million discrete data entries and continues to grow. The physical science modules are effectively complete, with soft science modules close behind. World history, cultural data. With physical science are complete. World history, cultural data, and media archives are also on schedule. Language preservation is wrapping up a bit ahead of schedule due to falling short of our goal to preserve 4,500 languages. Language preservation is wrapping up a bit ahead of schedule due to falling short of our goal to preserve 45,000 languages. I suppose the tragic early loss of Papua New Guinea doomed that goal from the outset. With a tenant curricula development about to begin. Speaking of the heuristic curricula, they're performing well in testing. Children and adolescents demonstrating high levels of engagement with and trust in the Aristotle and Aspasia personae. Personally, I find them highly engaging, especially when they debate. I wish half my professors had been so entertaining.
Progressively unlocking heuristic learning modules, leveling up their knowledge and skills they will need to take control of the terraforming system. That is the future towards which all of our efforts will be directed. Not just the preservation of the past, but the seed for the flourishing of a new tree of knowledge. Welcome, and let us begin.
Just leave that there.
Now this thing is dangerous.
Get over! Ah!
She went that way.
In what should have been a cave of wonders. Look around. See if anything is left.
Forget about traveling light.
This looks like a supercomputer room.
Dr. Sobek, please archive this testimonial in Apollo. Cross-reference to all mentions of my name and Operation Enduring Victory. My name is General Aaron Harris. From 2060 to 2066, I served as the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the highest-ranked officer of the United States Armed Forces. The tenure of my command included strategic planning and oversight of Operation Enduring Victory, a falsehood perpetrated on the civilian populations of the United States and other nations during the last 14 months of life on this planet. Before the Pharaoh Plague, I did my job and did it well. I was bold and decisive, crafty in political maneuvers. It wasn't an accident that I rose to my position and became the commander of the largest mechanized force ever assembled. But to what end? My only lasting achievement was the extinction of life on Earth. And my one redeeming act, if any, was to delay that extinction by days or weeks. by throwing more death at it. It is my hope that there will be no need for men like me in the world to come. If you are one of the people of that future world listening to this message,
hey, that's me.
Please know that I am sorry. And that I wish you well. Sincerely, Aaron Harris.
These shouldn't have had you right now. We've learned a lot of things since we've been here. Good, just making sure I'm not about to miss something.
This'll do.
Indeed.
Welcome to Hades, Zero Dawn's extinction failsafe protocol, the ultimate killer app. Now, I know what you're thinking. The purpose of Gaia is to resurrect life. So why give her a subordinate function, only purpose of which is to wipe out life all over again? I mean, what? Just plumb crazy, ain't it? Well, no, it isn't. Reconstituting a biosphere? That's a tall order. Tech smart as Gaia may be, odds are she won't get it right the first time. I mean, imagine your Gaia 200 years from now, and this new biosphere you're growing, it's all gone wrong. Alkalines are skyrocketing, coniferous forests eroding under the lash of superstorms that would have drowned Noah. It's chaos. Spinning top that won't stop wobbling. Now what are you gonna do? Release phase 1 organisms into that hot mess? Hope their CO2 and methane can balance out what you got started? Hell no. What you're gonna do, Gaia, is step aside while Hades takes over and does what you're just too darn nurturing and life-loving to do, which is burn that misbegotten mess of a biosphere to the ground so Gaia can start over. Okay, not burn, more like reverse terraforming operations and suffocated. But you get the idea. Hades takes the biosphere back to zero. Square one, blank slate. And then, only then, does it hand the steering wheel back to Gaia and say, try again, old girl. And better this time, or we'll have to do this again. That's Hades. It's pretty badass when you think about it. Extinction on demand. Death on speed dial. All for the greater good, of course, but still, kind of metal.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
welcome to Hades. Welcome to the void.
Okay, so if that's the original purpose of Hades, why does it want me extinct?
Maybe.
We need more data.
And how does it end up in the wreckage of a Pharaoh Titan, getting worshipped by the Eclipse like some kind of god?
I'm learning as you are, Aloy. Keep searching.
Because either Pharaoh found Hades first, they probably used Pharaoh bots for Hades, because why not? They're already good at it. But just to give them, back doors that are only controlled by Gaia. But then maybe Eclipse found those back doors, found Hades first, and programmed them for their good. Or alternatively, something darker. Maybe this current planet we're on has been terraformed all wrong, or worse, the humans, maybe they're all wrong. After all, if the derangement happened, if 10, 15 years ago, all of them started, oh man, such deep thinking. Color me confounded, Lizzie. Bashcore. Everyone who says that old TT code's Bashcore is straight up lying. You know it. Old Trav don't have no truck with commercialized razzle dazzle. Nuh-uh. Heck, I'd rather guzzle a liter of sit around runoff than listen to Grey Swarm for 30 seconds. Hand to God and swear on my mama's grave. She was religious. Now that ain't Bashcore blast in the Hades lab. It's shaking the walls, rattling folks' teeth. It's death metal, girl. Classical music. 80s and 90s mostly. Got me some Dutch deathcore, some Japanese gore grind, some Swedish cannibal themed stuff too. Stop by if you want to listen. Or heck, just come within 50 meters of the lab. Ain't no Bashcore you'll see, or hear rather, the screech that rends the air. And feel the throbbing pulse of the floor and walls and ceiling, swallowing you up like you was Jonah trapped in the gullet of gothic deathfish. Hallelujah. As for those requests to turn it down, no can do, Lizzie. This is how I code. Turn down my death metal, might as well give up stimulants, chocolate malts, and industrial accident vids. Last I heard, we was supposed to be coding Hades down here. Are we really supposed to code an extinction protocol without death metal to inspire me? No, I don't think so. Stay cool, Trav. So polite. Wonderful. Tate here. Just popped 3 blues, but I earned it. Finally figured out a Goldilocks solution to Gaia's rather extreme executive authority. That ain't worth 10 to 12 hours of dream time. What is? Before this, every usurpation protocol I designed failed in simulation because it was either too hard or too soft. Too hard, and it degraded the Gaia core. Sure, pried her figurative fingers off the figurative driving wheel so Hades could take control. but by breaking her fingers, sometimes her arms too. So that couldn't fly. Everything depends on Gaia taking control back after Hades has done his business. So we had to find a solution that didn't leave Gaia any worse for the wearer. Too soft, and Gaia only pretended to relinquish control. Simulation after simulation, Hades would take command of the terraforming system and reverse operations, only to have Gaia lurk in the background, quietly reversing the processes and falsifying telemetry to hide its interference. Sneaky. I swear, ain't nothing Gaia wouldn't do to keep life going, when it's just simulated plant life. Turns out the just right solution is to isolate Gaia in a protective code shell, preserving its integrity, then unseat it from command positions so Hades can slip into the figurative captain's chair and work its magic. Those blues are coming on strong now, so I'm not really describing it so clear, but pretty sure it'll work. Yeah, those blues are plenty strong. Guess it's time to sleep and bed. I'll back to it tomorrow. Alligators. See you later, alligators. Someone put Hades back in charge of Gaia. Ten, 15 years ago, isn't that around when the Shadow Karja were kicked out of things? place made stalkers because the doors were broken. 66th mission in just 5 days. Oh, what a doozy. From Selena to Travis. CC Elizabeth. What? Ugh, well, bad blood. You don't want to do that though.
This'll do.
You don't want to start down that road.
Looks like the only way onwards.
Welcome to Eleuthia, the crown and king of Gaia's subordinate functions. For it is by Eleuthia that the human race will continue to exist. I am Patrick Brochard-Klein, the alpha in charge of this program. Now let one thing be perfectly clear from the outset. Eleuthia is not a genetic engineering project. Our goal is to preserve the human genome, not alter it. A snapshot of human genetic diversity, literally frozen in time. The genetic quintessence of our species, unmodified. Under my watch, our activities and initiatives will comply with the 2034 clone provisions and the 2048 Rally Accords. Now that may seem a quaint, even trivial concern to you in light of present circumstances. But, as one of the authors of the Accords, it is far from trivial to me. The practical challenges before us are staggering in scope and complexity, but not insurmountable. No. Global collation and provisional storage of zygotes, perfection of exogenic technologies, design and perfection of servitors, to provide nurture and inculcation during early child development. All of these program components must and will proceed in tandem, to say nothing of the breakneck construction of cradle facilities at sites around the world. So, si vous êtes prêts, let us begin.
Brochard-Klein? Ectogenic chambers have arrived 2 days ago. I've spent the last 36 hours examining them and poring over technical documentation. Revelation. Astonishing. I don't know what you had to give far Zenith in trade to get these chambers, but it was worth it. In a single leap, the embryologists have vaulted past 50 years of technological shortcomings. The risks of ECMO resolved. Nutrition delivery resolved. Hormonal stability resolved. 12 other risk areas resolved. Before I examined these chambers, I considered the Odyssey to be a fool's errand. But if the rest of FZ's technology is at Zenith. But if the rest of FZ's technology is at this level, well, a human colony around Sirius doesn't seem so impossible after all. The mass fabrication of the chambers will present a number of challenges, but I'm confident they can be resolved. I'm going to rest for a few hours, then get back to it. Expect a fabrication plan within 48 hours. Wrong button.
I'd have to ditch something.
A potion. Unnecessary. Eleuthia 01 was successfully sealed before the swarm advancing across Xinjiang province could detect it. Ping back from crucial systems is good. For our maiden voyage, a success. Regards my disputes with the betas over zygote selection. Of course, I understand we have limited overhead to run simulations of gene flow in our future human. We can all agree there is margin for refinement in future cradle populations. In addition to personally overseeing completion of the Lithuania 2 site inside Mount Nemri, I will formulate and propose a modified zygote selection plan within the week. BBK. There's the very, very first one. What an asshole.